Welcome back, junkies. It's Brandon Dukeman here with Will Harvey, and we've got another great show in store for you today. But first, don't forget, subscribe to our show so that way you don't miss any of our daily awesome episodes, and join us on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/wealth junkies. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Will to introduce our guest.
Thank you, Brandon. Today on the show, we have Meg Manke. So she is the COO and head of training for Rose Group International. Most of her career has been spent in HR and people management. She's really passionate about creating accountability in the workplace, having fun, and the education of youth. And she's also sassy, zany, and kind of crazy, according to both herself and her partner, Rachel Headley, who has also been on our show. So Rachel spoke very highly of her, but also said that she is crazy and energetic and all that. So with that, Meg, I'm really excited to get into your story. Can you just give the listeners a little bit more about your background and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me on. And I just want to say you guys have really great stage names. I'm a little bit jealous. I think I need to, work on that a little bit. So I grew up on a ranch out in western South Dakota, outside of a tiny town called Belle Fourche. And I learned at a very young age how to be self-sufficient and what we call in our book GSD, which has a swear word in it. I don't know if I'm really supposed to say that on the show. So
Go ahead.
You're allowed to.
Because I'm interested.
Just say it.
Oh, okay. All right. So GSD is get shit done.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got a pretty good education in GSD as a kid and went to college for my bachelor's degree at Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska. Go Blue Jays. Little known fact about Meg, I never went to a Blue Jays basketball game ever in the 4 years that I lived there.
Do they have a good basketball team?
I don't know. They were okay. Yeah. They were really good before I got there, and then they were okay while I was there. But I get a lot of sports shame for not having ever attended a basketball game. So
yeah, fair enough.
I just decided
more important things going on.
Yeah, that's right. Like getting a degree.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got a finance degree. I got a finance and a business ethics degree. And I thought, well, I'll just go be a financial analyst. A lot of opportunities around Omaha. I never planned on coming back to South Dakota because it's like, desolate here as far as careers go. And so I thought, well, gosh, I'll just go do some magic finance wizardry and make lots of money, and that'll be fun. Until I realized that was actually going to be really boring for, what my work preferences were and what kind of an environment I wanted to be in. And in the meantime, happened to move back to South Dakota. And so my career sort of took me, or I guess my life choices sort of took me down a path of going into some sort of people management, operational people management, and then eventually into HR throughout my career. And so most recently, before I started a business with Rachel, I was the HR manager at a gold mine. And yes, it's an active gold mine. There's no visible gold, so you can't steal gold out of the ground. But there is still active gold mining in the United States. And so I had an opportunity to go through some transitions there. We were bought out while I was there. We also changed over some of our healthcare, compensation, and benefit structure, and really worked hard on safety culture. So through all of that, I learned a lot about organizational development and industrial psychology, how teams work together, how people manage change. Got my master's degree in strategic leadership. And then Rachel and I had known each other for a while and started visiting one night, I think it's some sort of like a business mixer or something. And we noticed that from underground, although our mine was above ground, but from underground to outer space, we were having the same challenges with people all the time. Mm-hmm. So, people don't change how they are and what they do, no matter what the industry is. So we thought, geez, it seems like we could do a better job of sort of managing people and helping them and making the workplace more fun and better and more supportive. So that's what we're doing now is our intention is to change the business world for the better and for the betterment of humans.
Very cool. So when you back, I want to get into all that, but first I want to talk about your background in you said you went to be a financial analyst and make a lot of money and do your wizardry and all that stuff. So what was your intention there before you realized that that was a boring career path?
Um, well, so I actually went to Creighton. I was accepted into an accelerated law program, and I was going to be an attorney. And then I realized with not, I did not have enough mentorship, and thought, gosh, I don't want to be an attorney because that seems like I'll have to support people who may have done things that are really bad, and I don't
Who
like
probably
want to
have
be.
done things that are
Yes,
bad.
yes, like I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
And so then I went to the business school and I said, hey, I'd like to get a business degree. And this is where the funniness comes in, the irony. I said, I want to get a marketing degree. And they said, oh, no, marketing, when I was going to college, oh, no, marketing is not a real, like, that's not an actual discipline. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, I don't know. There's like this internet thing going on and Facebook is kind of starting to kick. I feel like marketing might be a good path. And my mentor's like, no, you need to get like an accounting degree or finance degree. Well,
What time frame was that?
that would have been in 2003.
Okay.
And
Just kind of right before Facebook and Twitter and
yeah,
all those platforms.
yep.
Okay.
And so I said, I had already taken accounting 101 and I thought I'll just probably kill myself if I have to do that. So I just got a finance degree because I thought, it's interesting. It's a little meatier. There's a lot more logic and theory, applied to that as opposed to accounting. So I got that degree and thought it seemed like, and also it seemed like an easy way to make money. Like, oh, well, everybody needs finance something.
Right.
So that's kind of why I got shoved into that corner. I really wanted a marketing degree.
Wow. Well, I bet in hindsight, looking back, it probably would have made sense then, to knowing that everything that came, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, probably would have made sense. But you ended up in a great place, so I'm sure there's nothing to complain about.
No, yeah, it's true. And my finance degree has served me really well from an operational perspective, especially with our manufacturing clients. So it's all good.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So, Meg, what kind of struggles in the mining industry did you see, the gold mining industry, did you see that kind of inspired you to focus on kind of the workplace and making it a little bit better?
Yeah, what I have coined a term, or I think I've coined a term, who knows? It's not recognized by Google yet, so that remains to be seen. But that environment is what I used to call the blue collar, white collar environment. So there was a bunch of guys, maybe some gals with white collars, in an office headquarters somewhere in Toronto, Canada, or maybe Chicago, Illinois. And they were like, oh, hey, we're going to get all new loaders at the mine site that is out in South Dakota. And so great, this is going to be great. We'll sign the documents for, the lease terms and blah, blah, blah. They'll send the loaders out in a couple months and they can put them all together on site and then they'll put them into production. And then on the blue collar side of it, at the mine site, the guys and gals were asking questions like, well, the joysticks are different, or the seatbelt is really uncomfortable, or you're not giving us a long enough period to do the training so that everybody can operate one efficiently. And those concerns were heard, but they weren't really addressed necessarily. And then fast forward 3 months from that, next quarter numbers need to come out, and the numbers were lower, and white collar people were saying, WTAF is going on. We got to report to the public, like, why are your numbers lower than what we forecasted? And back at site, everybody's like, hello.
It's because we don't know how to use the machines. We don't know how to do our job.
So there was a disconnect.
Yeah, there's a disconnect. So the coin I have termed, because I think it's a little silly, because the reason I wanted to start working on that is to bring those perspectives closer together. So I like to call that those manufacturing, mining, construction, clear collar industries. I don't really care what color your collar is. I don't care what your job is in the organization.
Right.
We all have to communicate and be effective together.
Yeah, that's good.
That's awesome.
You're collar blind.
Yes, I am colorblind.
That's from The Office.
God, I
Michael
love
Scott said that. Oh,
But
man.
yeah, I mean, it sounds like you found the problem, and I know it's not only in the industry that you're in. I mean, it's where I work right now. There's an issue there too, and it's bringing those two mindsets together is probably extremely difficult, and you address that there's the issue there. And
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier that you just see it kind of across the board, whether it's like you said, a mining job or something that is vastly different. Like what Rachel used to be doing, she was doing stuff with NASA. So is it pretty much the same thing, no matter what the industry is, no matter how high level it is? Is there, as long as people are involved, is there going to be issues that are in that realm?
Yeah, I would say so because, so we also have quite a few clients we've worked with in the financial services industry. So public accounting, banking, stuff like that. And even though those people are all white collar and they're, all operating functionally with the same equipment, right? Basically, everybody's on a computer, we'll say, for all intents and purposes. So even in those industries where there is no collar difference, there's still, the CFO might see things differently than a COO. A COO is saying, hey, listen, I can't keep enough tellers out front in the bank at these 3 sites that are rural to make sure that we can process our clients well, and we're losing people. And the CFO is seeing it from a completely different perspective and saying, listen, we can't afford to hire any more people. That's not a smart move out in those rural sites. So it doesn't really even matter what level in the organization, doesn't matter what the industry is. Yes, there's always those differences about really just in perspective. And that's a healthy part of a business, right? You want those. The way we make it unhealthy as human beings is to not foster those differences in a way that it creates a better relationship and better business.
Got it.
So kind of explain to us how you're going to make that different, how you're changing that.
How we're going to change the whole world.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay.
The whole world.
The whole world. So what Rachel and I, so we set out to change this. We thought, we're a couple of pretty smart broads. We can probably sort this out. And we created a system called the culture type assessment. And we use the culture type assessment. There's 4 different culture types: fixers, independents, stabilizers, and organizers. And we have people take an assessment. It's pretty painless. It's 14, I think, questions long, takes about 3 minutes. And what we measure with this tool that's so much different than everything else it's compared to, it's different than Myers-Briggs, it's different than DISC, it's different than colors and strengths finders and predictive index and all the stuff. Because what we measure is business functionality by individual and by team. So what work preferences do individuals have? Do they like to be in part of a team and collaborating first? Or are they more self-driven and they like to reflect on something and then go to the team? And then there's some people that love chaos, like they actually create chaos just because they like to try and figure out how to manage it. Yeah. And then there are people who really, really don't like that. They kind of hate it. And even when chaos is created and change is created, they try and organize it and manage it, which drives the people who love chaos crazy. So we created this system to help people see and understand in a visual sense where other folks are on their team, so they can say, oh, you literally have opposite work preferences of me, see the world in a different way. So you're not really being an asshole. You actually just have a different perspective. And then we take that sort of aha moment, that revelation, and use that energy of learning that to teach people how to utilize those different skills and those different work preferences so that you can be more productive as a team.
Got it. So it's kind of like going when you have a spouse, girlfriend, or a husband or wife, it's like going to counseling and figuring out the root cause as to why they get upset at you, and then it's like, oh, it all makes sense now. You're not trying to be an asshole, like you said. You're just this is why you're doing that, and I need to treat it this way, and then it's kind of like problem solved. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yep, that is right. We actually get asked a lot if we are going to write our next book for couples, and we both said, I don't think that we're really the right people to do
That's
that.
funny.
Yeah, that's
But
really cool.
So is this something that, let's say a company would, like the product would purchase this and then they disseminate that out to all their employees, and their employees take the test, and then it kind of gets back to you, and the results are kind of produced, and then they can kind of, they see, how does the process work? Like, is each employee taking it at the company? And obviously I would assume they are, if they're giving kind of detailed results of how they work together.
Yeah. So we engage with clients in a couple different ways. And part of what we wanted to create, because we've both been in the business world and had consultants working with us, and we kind of agreed and did some other asking other people and some beta testing, like what's the worst client or consultant experience you've had. And it's that when they have like this box, right, and they bring the box, they set it on your desk, they open the lid and they say, here, this is going to solve all your problems. So
they don't show you how to use what's in the box or anything like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they just are like, here you go, this is pretty, and it's gonna, it's like they're throwing glitter around in your office, and then pretty soon they're just gone.
Yeah. And then they leave.
Yeah, and that's anything from software to talent development, like across the board. People, that's kind of the big boo about consultants. So we use our system. We have certain ways we engage with clients. But we really like to create what we call a bespoke experience for them, so that it actually solves the problems that you're having. Because everybody has same sorts of people, same sorts of problems, but they're just nuanced enough that we can't just go in and say, oh, well, what will fix Brandon's problems will also fix Will's problems at two separate companies. So a lot of times what we do is we give everybody that they want to have culture type. Could be a whole organization, could be just the executive team, could be executive plus leadership. We give all those people the culture type assessment, and then we scatter plot it. So there's a matrix, for the 4 different culture types, and then it shows a dot for everybody's name and where they exist on the scatter plot. And then a lot of times what we do is we go in and then do education on that, facilitate a workshop, whether that's an executive retreat or like frontline supervisor training or management coaching, and say, now here's how you can use that information.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, no, that sounds like it's a huge, valuable thing for companies, whether big or small, to be able to do that. That's really cool. Going back a little bit though, you obviously took a leap and started your own company and you're self-employed. So can you just talk a little bit about how you got your mindset to where it needed to be to take that jump out and do that?
Yeah.
And how you prepared for it as well.
Yeah, it was a process. I've always kind of known. So growing up on a ranch, my dad is an entrepreneur. And my mom she's a nurse, and then went and got, I don't even know, she's got all kinds of master's degrees about healthcare stuff. And so she's done consulting work. So being an entrepreneur has sort of always been something I've wanted to do. My sisters and I were raised to be, I don't know, like there are no lines. You go, like, if you want to fly to the moon, start building a rocket ship, like figure it out. So I always kind of knew that that's what I wanted to do. I had lots of crazy ideas that I would run by my best friend from college. I called her one time and I said, hey, there's a real need here in Western South Dakota in these small communities for like housemaids, like Mary maids kind of deal. And she goes, you're an idiot. I love you. You're an idiot. No, like, you're not going to be a maid. Like, what are you doing? So I had lots of ideas. And when I came upon this idea with Rachel, I thought, God, I'm really passionate about this. This seems awesome. And at the time I was the HR manager at the gold mine. My salary was incredible. My benefits were incredible. My flexibility was incredible. I had little kids. So like leaving all of that behind seemed sort of like nonsense, even though I
Yeah,
knew this
right.
is what I wanted to do. So I had to do a lot of, I actually, honest to Pete, I went to a counselor about some of it.
Mhm.
I talked to a lot of my friends. I talked to my folks a lot. I really value their opinion about stuff. Did a lot of journaling.
What were the people around you saying? Because a lot of people, myself included, have dealt with that, where they've asked people for advice and they get mixed results. What were people telling you?
Yeah, like, I guess a lot of people, especially around here, I think, if you're maybe early Gen X baby boomer and before, it's like, why would you leave a perfectly good job? You're being a lunatic. Even people that were entrepreneurs themselves in their own lives, they were like, yeah, I wouldn't do that. And
Really?
then,
Even those type of people told you not
yeah,
to?
my grandparents owned their own business. They were super
Wow.
successful. They had their business for 35 years, and they were like, yeah, I don't know, your job is really great at the mine. I'm like, yeah, but
Wow.
what? So I did get
That's crazy.
mixed signals. So that's why kind of like I went to a counselor and saw outside of my family and friend circle, so I
Yeah.
could have some just like logic reflection about, what does this actually look like? So financially, for me, I needed to feel like I was in a good place financially. And so what I did in the year and a half, where I was working both my full-time job and working with Rachel, developing our IP and our business, I paid off like I lived like I was broke, and I paid off every possible debt I could, so that when I decided to move over to be an entrepreneur, I had my mortgage and my car payment, and that's it. And then
Nice. So
basically,
you really took actionable steps. You didn't just go, you know what, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go into this. You deliberately took action and planned for that. You paid off a bunch of debts. I'm sure you set aside money, and that's really smart. And you sought outside advice. That's my biggest pet peeve is when people ask, and I learned this is when people ask advice from people who are unqualified to give it. And a lot of times your friends and family are the most unqualified people to be giving you advice about entrepreneurialism and starting a business and all of that. So I think I tip my hat to you for seeking out a neutral third party, if you will, to advise you on that.
yeah.
So after you made that decision, kind of walk us through your last day at your job, and you're just like, hey, this is my last day and I'm on the path to freedom. What was that like?
Well, um,
It might not have felt like freedom then.
It was
right.
probably
Like
extremely scary.
geez, I was really sad, honestly. Like, so in our world of culture types, I'm an independent. So I don't, like being in a big team and being around people all the time and collaborating with people is not, a natural desire for me.
Mm-hmm.
But independents are, really loyal to the people that they are really loyal to, and have a tight circle, of folks. And my tight circle of folks was at work, because I loved what I did. And so then I was like, I love to work, and I love to work and run and be with my kids. Those are kind of like my three things. And so I was sad to leave all those people. I was sad to lose the opportunity to debate and talk about new meaty challenges. And I was elated that I would never have to like answer to anyone ever again outside of a client. But like, I still, even in months where there's not enough money coming in and stuff like that, that's happened in our past, like even then, having the flexibility to say I'm the boss of my own schedule it's worth it. So my last day, man, I was like, peace, bitches. Like,
Yeah.
we'll go for beers.
Yeah.
I will miss you. We'll go for beers. I'm out of here.
I love that.
That's
Peace,
awesome.
bitches. That's great.
So then, what was the next step for you? Now you're on your own. You're your own boss, and is it get to work, or what was it like?
Yeah, it was definitely get to work, because Rachel and I had already been working together. Actually, it felt like a break though, because I was working like probably 80-ish hours a week, doing my full-time work and working with Rachel in the
Because you were
evening.
double dipping, right?
Yeah, early in the morning, we'd get up and have phone calls, like Zoom calls in our own houses, because we both have kids. So I'd get up at like 5 a.m. and I'd have a meeting with her until 7, or whatever about whatever needed to be done. And then I'd get ready for work and get the kids off to school and go to work. So it felt like kind of a break when I finally didn't have my full-time job.
Yeah, you just gained 40 more hours of life.
Right.
Like, 8 hours of sleep is a thing for people. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Probably felt like a part-time job.
Yeah. Right. I think the biggest challenge I had though, like after that, initial whatever shock, the biggest challenge I had was, like kind of staying focused, making sure I knew I had things that needed to be done, checked off. Cause when you're on your own schedule, even like I was at a management level, there wasn't really anybody telling me what I had to do most days. I mean, I had objectives, I had a few meetings I had to get to, but otherwise I was kind of my own boss anyway. But being really your own boss, where there's no org structure, there's no external stakeholder to report to, there's none of that. You gotta make sure you got some.
Yeah, I mean, you can stay in bed a few minutes longer, and then 5 minutes later, it's 2 hours later. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Or, decide you're going to go for a trail run and be like, oh, here's a new trail I've never seen before.
Right.
And pretty soon you're out there for 3 hours and you're like, oh shit, that's half the day.
Yeah, I actually have a job to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've never had that problem with running and wanting to run that much. So I don't think I'll have to worry about that.
Yeah, I think I'd rather be at home working than running.
Yeah, exactly.
Time you don't want to go to work. I could be running. That'd be worse.
Yeah, exactly. So what are some of the exciting things that you guys at Rose Group are working on now, and just what's the vision moving forward?
Yeah, we we have so much stuff going on right now. It's just crazy. We've got a web application in development. It's going to be a portal. So right now, when we do the culture type assessment for organizations, there's some manual work to it on our end. And we're going to automate all of that on our end, and then also make it more consumable for the user. And so we're developing all of that out right now. Really,
is it going to be an app, like a phone app, iPhone?
Okay, so this is where honestly I might be a millennial, but all the app, portal, website, I have no idea.
Listen, this is how I am too, online. So you don't have to explain that to me.
Yes, there probably will be a phone app, and also I know it's a web portal, so you can access it through the interwebs on your computer.
Yep, the interwebs.
That's what I know about it.
On FaceSnap and Insta.
Yes.
InstaFace. Yeah, all the
Insta Twitter, whatever, all they are.
Yeah, that's how I am. Right.
And so we're really excited to roll that out.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we have some serious interest, about 500,000 user profiles, probably as soon as we get everything developed and really up and running.
Wow.
So we're drinking from a fire hose right now about that in our 20 by 20 office in Spearfish, South Dakota, thinking, holy.
Yeah, that's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
did you guys take on equity, or are you guys completely bootstrapped?
Right now we're completely bootstrapped.
Okay.
Bootstrapped, I guess, loosely bootstrapped. We do have, line of credit with a bank.
But that doesn't count. You don't have an investor or anything.
Yeah, right. We don't have any investors, no angels, no VCs, no
Nice.
private equity. We're working on all of that right now, though, because the more money we have to get it going up front, the faster we can get it going and get the revenue flywheel.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially if you get the 500,000 users kind of sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So how are you guys marketing this? I mean, you got dissuaded from getting a marketing degree. So who's the marketing mastermind?
Yeah, that's a tricky question. Right now we use LinkedIn a lot to market. We're working with a company out of Ohio that has a really, really snappy strategic approach to sucking information out of LinkedIn and other databases, and then basically feeding direct content to those people via email. And,
oh, nice.
Yeah. And then that generates, discovery calls. So that has really been we're just kind of kicking off with that. That's been pretty helpful. But honestly, if we get in front of people and show them the magic of culture types, it's like, they're like, I want that. I want that right now. It's like, if you're going through a buffet line and there's like the weird looking steak, there's some macaroni and cheese that's kind of disgusting, but then there's like the ice cream machine at the end where you're like, I know no matter what, that is going to taste good soft serve ice cream. Like, we're the soft serve ice cream at the buffet. Like, that's
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. So your biggest challenge is just getting in front of the people. Once you get in front of them, it's kind of a done deal at that point.
Yeah, for
Very
sure.
cool. That's good stuff. I love it.
It's awesome. Well, Meg, we're going to jump into our Moments of Truth segment here. It's the same 7 questions we ask all of them, and we'll compare to see how you do against Rachel.
Oh, I feel like I'm on a game show right now.
Yeah, it's competition.
Yeah. No. So, Meg, who's your success role model?
Oh, shit. I think, honestly, from a business perspective, I'd say Warren Buffett. Not because I want to be a kabillionaire, but because I had an opportunity to learn a lot about him going to school in Omaha, Nebraska. That's where he's from originally. Had an opportunity to hear him speak a few times when I was in college. And he just always seems like he has very sound business principles. He's very logical. He has a very distinct way of kind of matching up empathy with accountability. And I just very much appreciate that. So he'd be, from a business perspective, he'd be the one. Of course, my dad and my mom have been super influential in my life, and I really appreciate everything they've taught me about life and business and kids and all the things.
That's great. Yeah, he's a solid guy. Pretty sharp dude.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like him, but that's kind of why I like him. Like, he's not going to tell you what you want to hear. He's going to tell you what you need to hear.
Right. He's pretty
I am a big
direct.
fan of that.
Yes,
absolutely.
I can tell that you are.
Don't just sit there and bullshit me. And
yeah,
exactly. What's your biggest success?
Personally, I would say my biggest success, besides I think the obvious answer of raising my kids not to be heathens, would be learning how to and being persistent in training my body to run marathons. Because I'm not like one of those. I am not a marathon runner, but I've trained myself to be. And so that is a big one. In business, I would say, I think what we're doing right now, like literally where we are at in our business right now, this pivot point where we're going to scale culture types and go global, is I'll look back over the arc of my career and my life and say, man, that was really cool.
Wow. Hey, that's a great spot to be in when you know exactly where you need to be and that you're there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, how many marathons have you actually run?
I've run 3. My goal is to have 100 miles worth. So next year I got to pick one. So I'm going to run one more. And then I'm going to hang up those shoes. And
call it a career.
Yeah, thank you. All my medals are hanging back here. I've done lots of half.
Well, that's 4 more marathons than I will have run.
Yeah.
Probably Brandon too.
Yeah, not much. I did run a 5K once, and
yeah, well,
jogged a 5K.
5K.
Yeah, those are tough. You get a medal for that. That's good.
Yeah. Luckily, I wasn't raised to be the family that does the turkey trot every Thanksgiving or something like that. So.
Oh yeah.
We're not a family of runners, so it's all good. What's a typical day for you look like?
Well, I get up at 5 and go to the gym, or go for a run if it's nice enough for that. And then my kids have been going with me in the morning, so that's pretty cool. And then let's see, get home, get them off to school. I'm a big fan of breakfast, so a lot of mornings I make them a breakfast and eat, just mostly because I want to eat myself.
How old are they?
They're 9 and 10.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
They're gonna start outrunning you soon.
Yeah.
It's happening already.
Wow.
Like, come on, Mom. Like, shut up.
They have all the energy in the world.
Yeah, right?
That's cool.
But yeah, a couple cups of coffee and then just get to it. My favorite day is we just had one of these actually on Monday, Rachel and I did. We just sat in the office all day and talked about, how we gonna, where are we gonna put paywalls in our web portal, and how are we gonna build that out, and how are we gonna market it, and what are all the big changes that we're gonna be like looking at and faced with, and people we're gonna hire. So really just having a chance to think huge, big picture
Yeah.
about what's going to happen.
Those
That's
super
my
high
favorite.
level, the super high level conversations, that's where stuff gets done. It's
Yeah.
not in the day to day, the minutia of just being busy. It's those, like you said, those high level conversations. Those are extremely, well, it's everything. I mean, it's
Yeah.
extremely important. I love it. What's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. Which is attributed to Dr. Seuss, but there's another
It
gentleman.
sounded like him.
Yeah, there's another gentleman. Frick, I can't remember his name, but it's like Bernard Bertrand or something like that. So we'll say Dr. Seuss. That seems a lot easier. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's a great quote. I love that.
What are some of your hobbies? Obviously, we've discussed a few of them.
Yeah, so exercise. I just really like to exercise. I do not like to ride bikes though. That's an anti-hobby for me. My kids they're like, let's go for a bike ride. I don't like it. My bike got a flat tire when I went mountain biking about 6 months ago, and I left it that way on purpose.
That's hilarious.
Can't go with it anymore. Let's see, what else do I do? I love going to the ranch, helping out with whatever, whether we're vaccinating cows, calves, making sure everything's healthy up there. Riding horses, we still get to do that quite a bit. Not a big TV watcher. I like to read if I have the patience for it. I love to cook.
Very cool. It's therapeutic.
Yeah. And you get to eat whatever you cook, so that's the best part.
Yeah.
I think I enjoy the eating part the most, but I enjoy cooking too. So
yeah,
that's right. What's the best business book that you've read?
Okay, well, I have to say ours because that's the obvious first answer.
Of course.
Right.
What's
so
number two?
IX Leadership. Number two, this one's, I guess it can be applied to anything, but I would say as far as for entrepreneurs or people thinking about being an entrepreneur or somebody who's just kind of stuck in a like, why am I here spot? Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani is, it's a great read. And it's really educational in the sense that he gives you lots of tools and ways to think about how to really get yourself from here to there about if you're kind of stuck in the mud on something. So Code of the Extraordinary Mind.
Very cool.
I've actually never heard of that. I'll have to check it out.
Oh, it's a good read.
So Meg, last question here. If there's one key piece of advice you could leave our listeners with about achieving success, what do you think it would be?
One key piece. I would say be brave enough to ask questions. I think that's something that has.
What do you mean by that? Give us an example.
I think you can use it in two ways. If you think you know everything, you probably have already failed. And if you think you know nothing and you're not brave enough to ask the questions, then you'll never succeed either. So I think that's
really good.
One thing that Rachel and I have learned in our business is if you don't know, and if you think you know, like go find 7 other people and ask them about it. Mm-hmm. And it might just be an opinion, they might not actually even be the right person, but just talking about things that you're thinking about doing brings crazy, incredible opportunities into your world. So I'd say be brave enough to ask questions. That's how I've been successful, not just as an entrepreneur, but in my career, especially for women, you always hear about pay inequality and stuff. And I guess I didn't suffer from that because I didn't let that be a thing. Like if I thought I needed more money, like I'd go present the information and say, tell me how and when you want to give me this raise.
That's cool.
What else do you need to see from me?
Yep.
So,
you didn't whine or complain. You just went out and made it happen.
Yeah, I did. I did because I don't understand why everybody else is whining.
I love that.
And the answer is always no unless you ask.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. And I think some of it's a pride thing too. Like you said, the people who think they know everything have already failed because, they're like, oh, I'm too good to, ask somebody for help or a question or something like that.
Yeah.
That's right.
You have to. So, well, Meg, how can our listeners get in contact with you and your group and your book and all of that?
Well, our stuff is slimed all over the interwebs. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Oh my God, I think our GM has even started a Pinterest page. Of course we have a website.
So you don't have any part of that. That's all. You have a GM or you have Rachel doing it.
Shelly, our GM, is the mistress to our social media.
That's hilarious.
I told those guys, like, the moment we like make it like Bazinga big, I'm literally taking all those apps off of my phone, like never.
I'm right there with you
on social media.
Yeah. Just go ride horses and live on the ranch.
That's right. And cook. Those are the things I really want to do. So yeah, you can catch us on all the social media. All my stuff is Meg Manke. Rose Group INTL is kind of how all of our stuff is hashtagged earmarked.com. And then let's see, you can always email me. It's pretty simple, meg@rosegroupintl.com. I'm definitely always up for just random, brainstorming sessions about anything, politics to religion to business to
very cool,
how to raise kids. So yeah, you can catch us.
Very cool. What about your book? How can people find that? What's the title again? Yeah,
the title is IX Leadership. IX stands for Internal Experience. It is not a book about Title IX, and it is not a book about the Roman numeral 9. It's
that's what I was looking for.
I know. I'd like you. They were going to go pick it up for that reason, I'm sure. It's on Amazon. We've got it hard copy, and then also Kindle and Audible, so you can listen or read.
Very cool.
Awesome. And I had this random question pop up in my head. Where did the name Rose Group International come from?
So we were talking about, the conversation sort of went down this rabbit hole one day when we were talking about how to name our company, about what do we help people do with this? We said, well, we help them really find their way, like find their true north. And because of Rachel's geography background, she goes, oh my God, it's like we're a compass rose for people. And so it's rose, like a compass rose group. And we always knew that we would be, even if we're not a big group, because we don't want to have a big behemoth, like a bunch of people in our company. We want to be a conglomerate, a group of people that support business. So Rose Group, and we knew we were going to be huge. So international.
I love that.
Hey, smart. You gotta speak it into existence. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
That's right.
Well, Meg, we appreciate you being on the show today. You provided an awesome story and awesome value about your life. We really appreciate it. And for our listeners, don't forget, subscribe to the show so that way you're not missing any of our daily episodes. And also join us on Facebook. Again, Meg, we appreciate you being on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, thanks, Meg.